Mlb Dfs slate. No, it's not an update. That was yesterday. That was Wednesday. We doing this again? We doing this live? We are live. All right, forget I said that. It's a Thursday. It's a quiet Thursday. It's a 5-game slate going down tonight for baseball. Plenty of time to talk about it. We apologize for being a few minutes late. Our apologies. Taking you all, of course, straight to first pitch. We yield to crunch time. I want to say 6 o'clock on the dot on the East Coast. Y'all get chief meteorologist Kevin Roth. You get, I believe it's Andre and the greatest DFS player in all of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada, TJ, and his Spidey bombs are lurking. Therefore, let's get those likes up. Yes, a fair point made in chat by B-Shot. I would subscribe to the show if it ever started on time. Well, you know what? We apologize. We're a couple minutes late. We're going to make up for it, though. Myself, Chris Kirkwood, a.k.a. Kid Yahoo. We're here to break it all down. 5-gamer. Some really interesting decision points. No pitching that feels spectacular. We had a pitcher just get scratched before the show. If y'all missed that, for Pittsburgh, for the Cubs, formerly Pittsburgh, Jameson Taillon is not throwing baseballs. Too much wind. So Taillon's like, screw it. I'm not throwing baseballs today. We have a wind game going on today in Wrigley. So Taillon's like, I got a groin. I'm not going to go. And then Javier Assad looks like an opener. He's not started a game all season long. Pitched out of the pen. So I think we're getting a bullpen game out of the Cubbies today. I was pulling up their bullpen stuff on the season. Looks like they only have one lefty in that bullpen, for what it's worth, Brandon Hughes. So not really sure who's going to come in exactly, but a mixed bag is what we're going to get. That's unless they're calling up somebody else that I'm not aware of. I feel like Keegan Thompson would have been a good nominee, but he threw 27 pitches yesterday. Feels like a guy that can go several innings, but maybe something will pop up as far as reports where they're calling somebody up not aware. But yeah, Kirkwood, how are things in your world? It's a Thursday. It's a quiet Thursday, but plenty of money to be made on this evening.
I mean, B-Shot is getting mad at us for being a little bit late on 420. I mean, things are a little slower today.
Happy 420 to everybody out there.
Yes. Thank you very much. Do you celebrate 420?
I mean, yeah, it's not something I've ever really delved into. No, I mean, whatever. I wish you a happy 420 and enjoy yourself. Have a good evening. But I've never really dabbled, and I feel like I'm like too old to start. Maybe
never too old, Dean.
Yeah, I'm not sure. What am I rebelling against at this point, right? That's not that's the only reason to start. Whatever. But yeah, I've not partook, but I'm open to it. Sure, like a gummy or I hear good things about gummies. I've heard things. This is not an endorsement.
Gummies, big T tweets when the gummies hit or whatever or something.
They'll sneak up on you, is my understanding. Yeah.
I hear that is very true. Yeah.
Do not have too many of those. Goofy stuff will happen, is my understanding. But
you think it doesn't? You think it's not going to work, and then you eat more, and then unfortunately, it all spins out of control a little bit.
Yeah,
so you got to find the right. You got to find the right amount.
Yeah, I suppose one of these days. I did. It's not worth going into, but I did. I tried to get my for medical purposes. I got my mom a medical card for it, but it did not work out for her. We'll just say that she had a bad
glaucoma or
just a pain thing. Yeah, it just Remember I went to one of those stores and it was interesting, but it did not take. So yeah,
like
you were saying?
Larry. Like when Larry got his dad.
Yes,
that's a great episode.
He had glaucoma, I believe, and that was an interest. That was the episode, I believe, where he took a lady of the night to the Dodgers game because he wanted to drive in the
breakdown lane. The breakdown lane.
Yes, the left-hand lane where
whatever.
More than one passenger or just a passenger, I suppose.
Yeah, you're right.
Shout out Curb Your Enthusiasm. Last season, by the way. Apparently, it's the last season that they're making right now. That's the word in the street. Somebody tweeted that out that was on the set, but we'll say I don't know if there's an official word on it. 5-game slate tonight, Kirky. There's really no. Somebody in chat's asking about SP2. Who do we trust at SP2? We good to go here? What kind of fire alarm going off? We got some smoke detectors.
That's oven preheated.
All right, fair enough.
Sorry.
No, you're good. No worries. I don't like any pitching tonight. I don't know if you trust any of this pitching tonight. It's all a big glob of nonsense. What we have right now as far as ownership is crazy. Of course, we have to talk about the Tatis. Tatis is back on 420. Shout out to Fernando Tatis. He was absolutely annihilating the world in AAA in a small sample. The Chihuahuas he was playing for, I believe, was the name of the team. 7 homers and 30 at bats or something silly, batting over 500, stealing bases, obviously great power speed combination. And DK did not get the memo. They goofed, right? They just totally Munsoned it, and he's 2K. He's 2K on DK, and we'll have to have that conversation because he's going to be extremely heavily owned. Actually, you know what we're doing? I'm going to give away. I tweeted this out, and I'll drop this in chat for the people. Again, what's up, chat? Hit that like button. Subscribe so you know when we're going live or when we're going to be 2 minutes late. Get those notifications. Turn that bell on. If you can correctly predict without going over, of course, we live in a society, we live by the Price is Right rules. Correctly predict and tell me what the ownership's going to be on Tatis tonight, specific to DK, specific to the relay. I put it in the tweet, and obviously respond in the tweet. 2 weeks free. Giving it away, Kirkwood. 2 weeks free to RG Premium, the closest person to, without going over. Feel free to use some decimals as well. People have done that. Feel free to check out. There's a lot of submissions as well. So, the little gamesmanship. Try to figure out the best possible number you can throw in there. But, yeah, DK-wise, Tatis, I feel like I'm supposed to not play him in the 121 in the single entry. What are we doing with the Tatis tonight? And pitchers are just kind of a whole lot of nonsense. There's some good ones, I guess, at least interesting ones. We got a roster too, one on Fanduel. What's your general thoughts as far as the slate as a whole?
First, I want to see if you did you read Cheese's article today?
I had a chance to. I caught most of it. Yeah, so I didn't.
Well, there was a direct ricochet right to you, direct shot.
I missed it.
It was so. Let me read this. Basically, he said He said, we're on the hitting side. We're going to have some non-sketchy chalk with the Dodgers and a Wrigley win game and a $2,000 Fernando Tatis.
I read this part,
which is already talked about. Which the most talked about salary mistake. So please do not feel the need to tweet about it. We all see it. I think you tweeted about it.
Was that a shot at me?
I feel like that was a shot at you because I saw you tweet about it last night and then something today about it too.
Wow. Okay. Well, I
don't want to stir the pot. I don't want to stir the pot over here, but I noticed.
Does Dave know where the unfollow button is? He can unfollow me. It's fine. It's okay. I can be excessive. I can be a little divisive on Twitter. If that's not your bag, it's fine. That's pretty funny though. I did read that. I actually did read that, and I just didn't realize that was potentially a shot. I don't think that was a shot. Dave just, he's just having fun. He's having a good time. His article's fun. He makes baseball fun. So I don't take that personally. Obviously, it's kind of fun if that's what he was doing. I'm not so vain that I think that tweet's about me, or I think that that line's about me. You know what I mean? But if it is,
I hear you. I hear you. But I'm an outsider.
Yeah.
I immediately thought of you. I thought it was about you.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Wasn't aware, but that's
anyways.
Kind of funny.
This slate is pretty funny. So this reminds me. This is like the Kiki Hernandez FanDuel slate where he was like 800 or something leading off. It was, there's been several on them, but the problem is we've never had one with someone of the talent of Fernando Tatis who can literally homer. He can literally jack in a bag in his first 2 at bats. Has hit 6 homers in the last 2 games in AAA.
He's been outrageous. Yeah.
Yeah.
But shout out to the team name Chihuahuas. I like that. Yeah. They have fun. They have fun in AAA and single A and double A with some goofy nicknames. I like the Chihuahuas.
And then there's the Washington football team. Crazy, right?
By the way, it's like the 20th best team name in the league. There's some worse ones. It's just that because it's new, it's weird, right? You think about some of the names that professional franchises have, just because you've known it since you were a child, it's not strange to you. But if somebody presented to you as an adult, hey, we're going to call this team, the Browns. Why? Paul Brown? I don't know. But it's not weird because that's what it's been called your entire life. But there's some strange team names. Is all I'm saying. But continue. Go ahead.
I agree. Yeah. So basically, it's pretty straightforward slate, but there's a lot of game theory involved. But there's really not much you can do to get different here. It's so when the pitching is the pit. So we know that Senga is the number 1 pitcher, but that's grading on a curve on this slate. Yes, he's got talent. Yes, he's shown strikeout stuff. He gave up 4 runs to Oakland. He hasn't faced anybody good yet. His command can be a little bit wonky. I mean, he's not. It's not like an ace. And then there's Roansy Contreras, who is he's like the guy that I play at like 2% ownership, thinking I'm like smarter because I've been like waiting for this kid to come around, and was excited about him in the offseason coming into the season. And he's got a nasty slider, but that's literally all he has is a nasty slider, which is good, but you got to have a good fastball to pair with the slider. His fastball is not good. At least hasn't been good. So if he can, you'd think a major league pitcher who you'd think he could get there. That it's he's going to be chalk today, which is crazy. Then there's Matt Strahm, who's been a reliever. I'm familiar. Obviously, we all remember him from the Padres. He's and went to the Red Sox. He's always he was someone that we were really high on when he they first tried to make him into a starter in San Diego, but he just never really panned out. But his stats are good, his stuff is good. He's just pitch count isn't going to be there. But he's facing the Reds. I mean, no, he's facing the Rockies away from Coors in the first game there with the Coors away from home. First game is always a spot to target.
Is that a thing? I hear people say that. They say first game at Coors, the first game away from Coors.
First of all, they suck. So that's more of a thing. Like that lineup is just atrocious. But yes, I do believe it is a thing. And it's also there's travel involved and stuff like that. That's you never know what affects people. But anyway, so those are the two chalk pitchers, and neither of them should ever be chalk. Michael Wacha is the next. Now he was chalk the last slate because everyone was, what have you done for me lately? And just game law watch. He had 10
when was this
Ks
on the weekends? I don't remember this. Was it a weekend slate?
I think it was a weekend slate, but because he had 10 Ks in the start before, which came out of nowhere, and it was against the Braves. I think it was. But we know what it is with him is, his command can really struggle. He's not a strikeout pitcher. He could be fine, whatever. Then there's really no one else, right? Did I say Sean Manaea? It's Sean Manaea, who's not going incredibly deep, and is in a tough matchup against the Mets. And, he's all over the place he was a really talented pitcher, but has certainly dropped off. So, I mean, what are, and then there's Luke Weaver making his first start against the Pirates. Usually it's plug in anyone against the Pirates, but this is Luke Weaver, and it's his first start from forearm soreness.
I mean, you didn't mention Ryan Nelson. I don't think you did, but I don't think you want to play Ryan Nelson. I don't think you mentioned.
But he's in play. He had two really good starts last season. And he was on the outside looking in to make the rotation, and he did make it. And I mean, I think he's probably the sneaky guy today. And this could be terrible. It's all bad.
I think Sengai is the most interesting, just because he's got the biggest K rate. He's got the ghost fork. The players he's facing are guys that have never faced him before. I assume he's never faced anybody on that San Francisco team. This year, San Fran is striking out at the highest K rate versus everybody versus righties. But the interesting thing is, Sengai cannot throw strikes, which is a problem, right? I think he said no less than 3 walks in all of his starts so far in his short career here. And also, when the Giants are hitting the ball against righties this year, they're a top 3 team, right? But again, they're striking out a ton. So it feels I think it's not a crazy idea. 5-game slate. That's when you get goofy. That's when you get squirrely. That's when you lean in just baseball does goofy stuff, and you can't predict it. And that's that. And ownership's going to condense on pitching and on hitting. But in hitting, it's going to be Wrigley, right? And it's going to be Philadelphia, and it's going to be San Diego. And the rest of the teams will be mostly neglected. And it's hard to hide in a 5-gamer, but that's what's going to happen. So I think San Fran's interesting as a stack against Sengai. What if he can't throw strikes? And the one time he does, San Fran hits a couple homers. I know the ballpark stinks, but again, they've been hitting righties this year pretty good when they're actually hitting the ball. But Sengai's got the biggest K rate, right? 30% K rate. And I think that's the one I trust the most. And, as far as, let's check out the bat. Projection-wise, as far as K's, I assume, guessing here, I'm guessing he's projected to have the most strikeouts. He is. A little bit over 6. And then Manaea at 5. Not a great matchup for Manaea, right? Against a Mets team. It's, there's some tough bats over there. You mentioned Contreras, and I agree. Contreras is a guy, it's like, well, this guy looks like he's got good stuff, and maybe this is not the time he puts it together, and I'll play him at 3% and throw that dart. But like you said, it's a 10 pitchers we're picking from. We got to pick 20% of these guys. And really, it's more than that because I don't see any upside in rostering this guy from the Cubbies. Javier Assad, 6.3K on Fanduel. That's outrageous. Is he 4K on DK? Is he even in the pool? I don't think he's in the pool on DK, actually. I was searching for him. Yeah, not that you want to play him. I don't think he's going to play. I haven't seen a number, but maybe 2 innings, maybe 3 innings, something like that. But now we're getting Contreras at 43% ownership, Strom at 43% ownership. Like you said, his pitch count a little bit subdued. We are predicting, I'll say Cardi is predicting, let's see, how many pitches is he going to throw? I think it's somewhere in the 70s as like a median projection, which again could be fine because who really has the upside, right? Like what pitcher is this going to light it up today? And like, sure, we saw Waka have that one start and good for him, but that's highly unlikely to be repeated. Strom, for what it's worth, 75 pitches is kind of the projection on him. Yeah, I don't know what to do with pitching. It's all sorts of gross. And typically I will lean in on the big ownership stuff because it's the best pitchers and give me Garrett Cole and give me Jacob deGrom. But that's not what we're getting here. But we're getting that kind of ownership. But you can't just say, I'm not playing those guys. You got to say, okay, I'm not playing those guys and I'm playing these dudes instead. And those dudes look even worse. So I don't know what to do. But we're all in the same bed, right? Have you settled? Have you figured it out? Are you making your hitters first and then like whatever's left? Is there a certain pitcher you're willing to say, like, that's my guy? In my main lineup, I want to at least have this guy in it. Or you're not settled on it just yet?
So there's 4 chalky combinations, literally. So there's Senga with Contreras, Senga with Strom, and then there's Contreras and Strom. Now, anyone else is kind of the way to get different, but none of it is going to feel good. So I don't know. It's going to come around to bats, but it's just a small slate. So the bats is where the big difference is going to be tonight. So I guess we gotta find that because I don't know. None of these most likely none of these pitchers. Maybe Senga probably has the best shot. None of these pitchers are probably going to have like a slate breaking score.
Just a heads up, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth did update his weather report. I'm dropping it in the chat right now. It was yellow-orange. Now it's orange-yellow, which starts getting to the dicey territory. Now that's dicey for pitchers, right? I don't think we're considering pitching. It's certainly on the Chicago side, not even available on DK. I think it's outrageous to do on FanDuel anyway. If you want to roster Michael Grove, I suppose you can. I don't think I'm doing that. But I guess I can just go ahead and read it. We got time. But yeah, again, check that link in chat. And I'm reading this for the first time. I think a late start, and this is Roth typing, obviously, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth, and he'll be on in 35 minutes, and he'll give you an update to this update, the most recent update. And he'll keep his eye on radar, during the show. A late start and play is the most likely outcome, but the risk here may be a bit higher than people realize. A line of potentially severe storms should move it around or a bit after first pitch while that line clears fairly quickly. High-res models, that's resolution in the business. High-res, just a quick way of saying it. If you went to meteorology school, Kirkwood, and you'd like to pretend like you did because you have your dew point model is still in beta, right? You knew what high-res meant, right? I don't want to out you. Yes?
I'm just an idea guy. I brought the experts in together. They were all getting around that stuff.
High-res models are firing at a few more storms in the general area back behind that line. Models right now keep all of the secondary action just south of the ballpark, but it wouldn't take much of a shift. It wouldn't take much of a shift for it to become a big problem. So there's risk. Both of them just deciding they don't want to play in the face of severe weather and also in a chance of a second round of storms. Still think they late start and play. Yeah, and like he was just summarizing, it's the best hitting spot for the slate with winds blowing out 20 miles per hour essentially to left center field. We're looking at an 11 total in Wrigley. That's a big boy total, obviously. And even think these lineups are not spectacular. Betts, by the way, not in the Dodgers lineup today. He's still on paternity leave. I guess he'll be back tomorrow. But no Jason Hayward, by the way. No revenge game for Jason Hayward with some aided wind. And he's actually hitting the ball hard this year. You just got to get Luke Williams in there, I suppose. I thought for sure we'd see J-Hay, but yeah. And, obviously no Will Smith as well. So this Dodger lineup, the tops look pretty solid. But Outman, Freeman, JD Martinez, Muncy, Thompson's got some power. But,
Thompson's hitting a bomb.
Yeah, he's hitting one. Okay. Peralta, Vargas, Luke Williams, and then that's a person, right? Can you confirm Luke Williams exists? Is that a real person, or is that a Korean player?
It's a country singer, and he's.
It sounds like one, doesn't it?
He's dabbling in baseball now, kind of like the Michael Jordan thing. He's
many years ago. Garth Brooks used to go to like San Diego Padres spring training and hang out. So maybe that's what Luke Williams is doing. I know it's Luke Ryan. This is not my wheelhouse, country music, but is there a Luke Williams that sings? I don't know. Or are you making that up? I think you're making that up. But I kind of sort of buy it. So yeah, we'll have to keep our eye on this game. And my first thought is, I guess it's an all in or all out situation, depending on how dicey it is. General rule is I don't want like one or two players in a game that has a decent shot of getting rained out. And I don't want to scare anybody, but that's kind of where I'm at. And still, we're 2.5 hours, 2 hours from the start of this game. So but we'll get more information later on, and hopefully we'll be able to make a more informed decision. But right now, where are you at? Does Roth scare you a little bit? Orange is a little bit scary. And they can certainly cancel this one. It's kind of a marquee game. Dodgers, Cubs. They don't want it to be murky. They want a nice crowd.
I also think I think that this isn't like the typical Wrigley win game that we're all looking forward to, but we're trying to force it because we need something. You know what I mean? So it's got the wind, right? It's going to be like 15 to 20 miles per hour, somewhere in that range. But it has a nice dew point, but you need like more heat there to really get excited.
67?
I know. That's not quite there. You need like in the 80s to get excited. But
not the trifecta.
No, it does not have the trifecta. So it's like a different. It's good. It's right, but it's. I don't know. I'm thinking about fading it, to be honest with you. Like that would be the way I play this slate. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I know you look at Roth's Weather Edge with 25 game samples. I mean, the numbers are through the roof right there.
Pretty good.
Again, that's a 25 game sample.
Yeah, I'm curious what Roth has to say. But as of right now, I'm certainly interested in the game, and who knows who's throwing baseballs for the Cubbies. It's going to be a bullpen game. Javier Assad's starting it off, and basically a slew of righties, unless I'm missing something, unless they're calling somebody else up that would have not caught. It's a bunch of righties, and there's Brandon Hughes, who probably works his way in for an inning or two at some point. In the chat, what else is going on in the chat as far as pitchers that are being thrown out? Did I interrupt you? I apologize if I interrupt you. Kenneth wants to know why he's assuming that we're buddies. It's an interesting assumption, but he says, why do you interrupt your buddy? So am I interrupting you? I apologize if I did that.
I didn't notice it.
It's not my intent.
But it's nice to have guys like Ken have my back here a little bit, and
are you close enough to Ken to call him Ken? His name is Kenneth, so I don't know. I think you got to be a little more formal if you call him Ken. You got to be. You don't know him well enough.
First of all, it's Big Ken.
Always. We call him. Yeah. All right, fair enough. No further questions. Now the chat's just having fun throwing out some minor league names. Apparently, Luke Weaver was playing for the Mud Hens, and I saw somebody talking about the Isotopes, who got their name out of the Simpsons episode. The Simpsons.
I like the Gauchos.
Yes, I believe that's. God, I can't remember who the Gauchos are. Somewhere like in Arizona or Texas, I believe. I'm not mistaken, but yeah, they have a great job as far as that naming minor league teams. That better than to my point, like the Packers. What if the Green Bay Packers? Like it's a traditional name, but like if you've never heard that before, and like we're going to call this team the Packers, like okay, that's
what are they packing?
Name. I don't know. That's not, again, these are follow-up questions I don't want to get into.
Packing heat?
Probably for another show. That probably not worth it. Cal Santa Barbara is the Gaucho. So it's a college team, apparently. or Riverside.
I just like the hat. I just like a hat. I just like a hat of it. So I had no idea if it's minor league or college.
All right. The Sod Poodles, is that for real, Izzy? Izzy's got a Sod Poodles hat. What city is that? I don't know where the Sod Poodles are, but I'm not sure. That sounds like a single A team. They're having way too much fun there. The Sod Poodles. Yeah.
I'm just, you know what it like if we're all, and everybody's playing this. I mean, let me look at
it's all gross.
And no, but everyone's playing this Wrigley game, right? Like that's what's getting fed through every optimizer completely.
And Tatis on DK, of course. We'll have that conversation in a second. But
it's a 5-game slate, and it's got no real pitch. It's I mean, I think for large field stuff, like obviously, like when I'm on my main lineup and Yah and stuff, I'll be playing it. But for large field stuff, I'm just gonna fade it.
Well, you can't just say you're just gonna fade it. You actually have to submit a lineup. What are you gonna play?
Phillies look darn good. I mean, they'll get some ownership too. But I mean, give me that Rockies bullpen.
Yeah. By the way, I'm pulling up the Slate IQ stuff right now, and it's for DK, right? We have a collective ownership, and trying to get to it. I don't know why I can't. Okay, there we go. Nope, did not get to it. I'm going to get to it in a second. It takes a while. Okay, total ownership. So right now, total ownership-wise, Philadelphia is getting the most, according to Slate IQ. This might get a refresh. Obviously, at some point, it's going to refresh, but we have Philadelphia at 152% total ownership. The Dodgers 141. The Padres 140. The Cubs at 36. That seems wrong.
Yeah, I'm getting LA the top, San Diego, Chicago, then Philly.
I think it's those four teams though. Philly, Dodgers, Padres.
So I think Philly will be the bottom of that, and then I mean I could play the Mets. I could get behind. You know what I liked about Arizona when they were getting whooped and down, they were still stealing bases.
Yeah.
You know, that's the
shout out to Madison Bumgarner, by the way. Mad Bum got cut today. Yeah. Okay. You know what? I realized I just cut you off. Now Ken is right. I got to stop cutting you off. But go ahead. You were saying.
Get at him, Big Ken.
Put me in the corner for 10 minutes. Go ahead. You were saying.
No, I mean I like that. Those little things on teams like that. So I could play some Arizona. So I guess and then I mean, San Francisco probably has like the most power talent, even though they strike out. I don't think. I mean, like that's a way to win the slate today. I don't know. Just spitballing here.
No, I think that's what we do. That's what this kind of show is. This is kind of a conversation, just sort of like the slate, and like we want the chat to chime in and help direct that conversation as well too. Feel free to if we're not talking about somebody who wants to talk about a pitcher or why are we neglecting that? Throw it out. We'll have it join the conversation for sure. And we got plenty of time to knock it out before the crunch time crew comes in about 25 minutes or so. So Sengai has been unlucky as far as home on the fly ball. This is all small sample stuff, so I don't want to, you only look into it so much. But 30% Ks are really good. The fly balls haven't really been there. 29% fly balls, but 1.69 homers per 9 because the homer to fly ball rate is 27%. Again, that stuff should correct itself. And it's also in San Francisco, which is not a homer park. So I don't know what to do with it, but I do think that you absolutely, if you're playing large field stuff, it's not hard to get over on the field on San Fran. Enter it knowing you're going to lose or assuming you're going to lose, right? But it's like, what if you win, right? What if it actually hits? Because people are not playing the Giants. And again, the Giants have been striking out a ton when they're actually hitting the ball. They've been hitting the ball very, very well against righties this year. Top 3 in ISO, top 3 in WRC+. But again, it's a whole lot of nothing, man. It's a mess. But and then this is kind of the thing where you think you're supposed to get under the field on stuff. The chalk's bad. Whatever it happens to be, it's not great chalk, but the pivots aren't great either. So that's where we're at. Tatis, let's have the Tatis conversation on DK. I'm sure you're aware of this. I'm sure the people are aware of this. Lots of people on Twitter are tweeting it out. How unoriginal. 2K. Fernando Tatis, I don't know what they're doing there on DK. He's like 4.3, 4.4 or so on FanDuel. He's fine over there as well. I presume he's going to lead off. He's going to be on the road. Well positioned for 5 ABs, jack in the bag potential. He's in good form. Banged out 6 or 7 homers, a couple swipes as well in the minor leagues for the Chihuahuas. Well, what do we have as far as ownership? Because I'm going to guess it's like 40% or so. Let's see. No reason to guess. We have our ownership projections. And let's just say it's 40%, or let's pull it up. 48.99%, according to our Plate IQ percentage. Let's see what we have as far as the bat, if they agree. I assume it's similar. Well, what's interesting is the bat has it as 30, and I disagree at 30. I did somewhere in the middle of those two, I think. What do you think, Kirkwood?
I don't know how people are gonna play. I mean, if you run optimals, even with like you jack up the randomness or the range of outcomes, you're still gonna get a ton of Tatis. So you're gonna have to manually. So for people who are mass entering, you're gonna have to manually, cap him and bring him down. Unless you have like full 5-3 and stuff, but then you're just going to get way more, unless you're going to have to cap the San Diego stacks. But anyways, yeah, he's gonna. I think he's gonna be like 50% owned.
So I'm doing what you're doing, by the way. You suggested I'm running 125 lineups on DK. I'm allowing myself to get 100% of a hitter, and I did add some variance. 10% hitter outcome variance and 25% pitcher outcome variance. Oh, you know what? I didn't hit team level variance. I have to adjust that and run it again. Never mind. Let's put that at 25. Let's see if we can get a difference at 25, because it was going to give me 100% Tatis before, because, not surprising at all. One interesting way, like, again, it's not that there's good pivots. There's Dansby Swanson in the Wrigley game. There's Trey Turner, who's like always a jack in the bag potential. Same team, just swap out Tatis for Bogarts. The ownership difference between Bogarts and Tatis is going to be outrageous. And it's baseball. We're talking like 5 at-bats. That's it. That's their only chance to make some points. Lindor is another guy against Manaea. Sure, why not? Francisco Lindor going to be totally ignored because we're playing Tatis, and that makes a lot of sense. By the way, 94% he landed in. I made 125 lineups, optimal lineups, baseball, LOL. But, yeah, 94% of lineups. Who were the other shortstops? What was the 6%? Swanson 5%, Turner 1%. Yeah. What do you think of Bogarts? Just play Bogarts. Say if you like the San Diego stack, and just swap in Bogarts for Tatis, and obviously different price, a little bit of a different shuffle, but the ownership difference is going to be outrageous.
Yeah, I do. I like Xander, so I think you should definitely be doing that. If for hand building tonight, that's probably the go-to move for me, in like the 250, the 4 max.
Yeah,
so I like that. But there's not a lot to like. So literally, who else? So there's Xander, there's Trey Turner, there's Swanson. You can play Lindor.
Yeah. Castro.
You really want to get gross, you could play Brandon Crawford.
Yeah,
that's where
I hear you.
I think that's where the end of the line is.
Just want to see. I'm curious where we have Bogarts at. We have Tatis at 48.9%, and we have Bogarts at 5%. And like, you can always do the thing, like, if you send this thing out, Tatis is not beating Bogarts 9 times out of 10. Like, it's just not happening. Salary is a little bit different too. Salary is not that constraining tonight because you're not paying up for pitchers necessarily. You're not paying 10K or anything like that for 2. It's just an interesting thought as far as what to do with the Tatis conundrum. And again, I'll drop that link in chat before we step aside and get out of here. You guys win yourself 2 weeks free of RG Premium if you correctly predict the ownership, if you're closest to the ownership to Tatis. I made a tweet earlier. Just answer in the tweet. Do not answer in the chat. I'm curious what the chat thinks as far as what they're doing with Tatis. The number 40% is like, that's too high, man. It's baseball. The failure rate is greater than 40%, no matter who it is. And if you put, like, let's say he hits a home run. Let's say it's a solo home run. He gets 14 points. Like, are you dead? No. You're fine. Like, I guess you'll take that. But, if he puts 2 homers.
Sharon made a good point, too, before that in chat, that we don't have 2 high-end stud pitchers to even pay for.
Yeah. I was making that point too. You weren't listening to me, but yes.
I mean, I wanted to give credit to the where you read it from, and then decided to make the point.
Yes, I was repackaging it. Yes, correct. Good call.
We all know what you do with those cheese articles. We know. We were onto this, right?
Yes, absolutely. I was on the expert survey today, and I made a Kingpin reference, and I'm pretty sure nobody else made a Kingpin reference today in 2023. But that's what I did for no particular reason. Just sort of came to me. You've seen Kingpin, right? I assume. Yes.
The
Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
Bill Murray.
What's
bowling?
And the guy the Jesus.
No.
That's
Big Lebowski. That's Big Lebowski.
Oh, that's Big Lebowski. King. So
yeah.
What's Kingpin?
Kingpin is Bill Murray. There's they're bowling. Woody Harrelson loses his hand.
Yeah. So why am I thinking of Big Lebowski?
Because they're both kind of bowling movies, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
Nick wants to know what Giants
again.
Happy
420 to everybody today.
Did you? I shouldn't ask, but I wish everybody out there and yourself a happy April 20th for the people. What Giants bats can we trust? Is Brandon Crawford one of them?
From a pin, you can trust him from a pinch hit risk. That's what you're asking?
He usually sticks around, actually, right? Because he plays shortstop.
He's a great shortstop. So he's the one that you can count on. Hold on, let's see what card he has for pinch hit risk.
He's less than 5%. They don't pinch hit for Crawford, pretty much never.
I know. I said he's the safe one, but let's see what like for the whole lineup. I thought that's what
I got you. I got you. We don't have a lineup just yet for San Fran, unless I missed it. I don't think
projected lineup.
Yeah. Wade, Estrada, Conforto, JD Davis, Yastrzemski, VR, Crawford, the Bartman, and Blake Sable. Blake Sable is a pinch hit risk. I'll tell you that. He's gotten the hook several times this year.
25%. It's pretty high.
Yeah, that is pretty high. He's probably batting ninth as well. So he's one of those guys that might get 2 at bats.
JD Davis is showing 1%. Remember, like, things have changed.
Yeah, he used to get the hook a fair bit back in the day.
He used to be
Jock Peterson's not there anymore, or he's hurt. Yeah. So yeah, their options are a little bit thinner than they used to be. I saw somebody in chat asking about Big Ern, Ernie McCracken. There you go, Izzy. Shout out to Ernie McCracken. By the way, Bill Murray owns the Charleston. God, what's the name of the Charleston team? They're like AA team. He's a big Cubs fan, so it all comes around. That means we got to play the Cubbies tonight, I suppose. Somebody was asking about Sengai, like after Sengai, who's the lock at pitcher? It's like Sengai's not a lock. There's no locks at pitcher. No, like there's no pitcher lock. I wouldn't use that word.
Senga.
Are you sure?
There's no I at the end of his name.
No, but I'm fairly certain it's Sengai.
I think it's Senga. It's Kodai.
You're talking to a Mets home. You're talking to a Mets homer right now.
Oh, is that what I'm doing? I'm supposed to be flipping. It's
Kodai.
Kodai Senga. That's what I'm doing. Because I knew it. Okay, I flipped the wrong. Okay, my bad.
Thank you.
Well, I know that Steve watches. I'll take the L. Give me the L. But put the graphic on the screen by all means. Throw me the L if you insist.
Is everybody at RotoGrinders following Steve? By the way.
Yeah,
like
I mean, I do. I don't know.
If everybody's in chat, he's a great. If you like people who just tilt their bets all night and like like thinks he's dead, like the first play of the game, like I do. I like that, and I'm also the same kind of way. He's a good follow right there. So
he's two different people though, because Steve's like the nicest guy, and then if I just knew him from like his Twitter persona, I'd be like, this is an angry person. This guy is just always tilting and always mad about something. But yeah, that's just a character he plays online, I think.
I'm just the angry guy yelling at the clouds.
And apparently I'm in his top 10 of I'm number 2 in his top 10 of people who've been looking at his profile, and I can't recall ever looking at his profile, but
I mean that thing is just nonsense, obviously.
It's all fake news.
Yeah. All right. What else do we need to focus on here as far as stacks? Your favorite stacks today? You're still kind of on the fence as far as Wrigley. You're not really sure what you're doing with that?
I mean, I'm playing it for like cash type lineup, really small field stuff, and I'm getting away on larger field. Like, it's not like everybody's playing. Like there's just nothing. Like how are you getting different? How are you separating with that today on this slate?
It's a good question. By the way, if you're playing on FanDuel, Kyle Schwarber's 3-1. Just so you know, that seems like an absolutely ridiculous price. If you're playing cash games over there for
I
sure,
have a
play
feeling
some
he's
Kyle
going to be
Schwarber.
He's going to be a Spidey bomb today. And I another one. TJ's got to go back to Patrick Wisdom again today with a Spidey bomb. Those are my guesses.
Oh, Patty the brain, yeah. And you're saying assisted by the weather?
You gotta give it up, Dean. You gotta just let it die. Like Patty the Tooth. Literally every person that's affiliated in RotoGrinders or in RotoGrinders chat or Discord, they call him Patty the Tooth. This nickname has stuck. You're the only one still fighting this fight. I don't get it.
All I would say is like, what sounds more intimidating? If you're a pitcher, who would you be more afraid of facing? The guy named the Tooth?
What makes you think of pain?
What? Bring the pain?
Yeah, wisdom teeth. That's like such a painful experience getting those removed.
Well, okay, but that name isn't. He's wisdom no matter what his nickname is. His name is Wisdom.
He's bringing the pain there. It's a great nickname.
According to Shannon, the BVP play of the day is Juan Soto. I don't know what Juan Soto's BVP is.
Double check. I'll shoot a message to Chop right now, real quick.
He's probably faced Ryan Nelson like 8 times in his life. There's no way he's faced him more than 10 times. It's got to be a ridiculous sample size. Ryan Nelson, come on, get out of town. TJ in chat
just had his BVP play of the day yesterday, I think.
What did he get? 3 walks? That's what he does every single time.
He homered. I forgot who was pitching.
He's the most frustrating player to roster because he just walks all the time.
This is the easiest. 2 homers.
Oh, so what? 4 bats? Yeah, of
7.
course. And how many walks? 3, 2.
2 walks and 1 strikeout. The key there is 1 strikeout.
Yeah. Again, when he walks and you pay up for him, are you thrilled with those walks? They're fine, I guess. He's really cheap on is FanDuel price really cheap? Or I think he's cheap. He's cheap pretty much both places, isn't he? 5K on DK is pretty cheap. Yeah, FanDuel's 3.5. That's a really good price for Soto on FanDuel. That seems too cheap as well. What do we need? I guess TJ let us know as far as the Spidey Bombs in chat, but hit those likes, and TJ will be firing them off about 12 minutes or so, assuming we've hit that threshold. Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications, do all the things, hit all the buttons. Moose is the BBP play of the day, boys. Moose. Well, Mike Moustakis is not what he used to. And how many times did he face Matt Strom?
He didn't make the lineup.
How many times did he actually face him?
This is okay. I just figured out how we win the 5-game chalk slate.
A bench player?
Pinch hit, Mike Moustakis, home run. Is the way I think.
But he's not going to pinch hit off of the pitcher that's in there right now.
Strom's not going to be Strom's not going to be in the game when they put him in.
My favorite BVP victory lap is like when the guy hits a homer.
That counts. What? That counts when he hits.
When it comes off the bullpen, it does not count. Yeah, it does not count.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's not why that person was a BVP play. Team wise, is there anyone you're just kind of crossing out? Like we talked about Contreras, right? And it's like, well, you want to get some leverage and play some Reds? Okay, now make your red stack. Who do you want to play?
Stevenson's a decent option at catcher. Always India's got upside for sure. Friedel, how do you pronounce? I don't know the pronunciation, but he's got BVP. I'll tell you that.
What is the BVP?
I'm talking big BVP here. I'm talking 1 hit and 4 at bats, and that hit was a homer.
Oh man, yeah. Chuck says he loves BVP. It tells me everything I need to know instantly. Yeah, forget the plate IQ stuff, the exit velocity stuff, the launch angle.
Since he's a good stack, the one stack I would not go touch today is just the Rockies. They just suck.
The Reds, man, their StatCast stuff is not good. Their air distance is not good. Everybody in the red as far as air distance on Cincinnati. It's not a good lineup, man. When's Votto coming back? Is he coming back soon? Do we know?
No idea.
Not that he's what he once was, but fun to have in the game, if nothing else. I guess you can play some of these Reds, I suppose, and significant ballpark downgrade, right? Great ballpark there in Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. Beautiful ballpark to sit in. Awesome backdrop, but to hit homers, it's not spectacular. Reds Gal says that since he's got 2 homers on the road this season, it's not a lot. It's not a lot of home runs. They might get one tonight. Wouldn't shock me, but how many stacks do you have to make until you make a Cincinnati stack? You can do it.
No, I kind of like it up close to top. I think you have to go against Contreras. If Contreras chalk, I think a red stack you got to do tonight.
Producer Steve in the chat says, hot take, Tatis is going to do terrible today. That's not a hot take. Like, he's, depending on what your definition of terrible is, like, he's very likely to go like 2 for 4 with a single and a double and a run. And is that terrible? I don't know. Is it needed? No.
He's gonna double dong because this is what happens. It's like the same thing with
No, I'm talking like 3 fantasy score. That's it. Like
it's the same thing as like Sawinski chalk. Boom.
I didn't have Sawinski on Sawinski Day. That was a bummer. Yeah. I had the good secondary pieces.
Who's the guy from Tampa? Raleigh,
yeah.
Raleigh, double dong, just chalk day out of the blue, batting cleanup, double dong, right there for the faders.
Do you want to play the stack game here as far as your favorite stacks? 5, you love it. 1, you hate it. 3, you're kind of in the middle. You're kind of wishy-washy. How do you feel about the Dodgers? Again, Dodgers, no Betts, no Will Smith, kind of falls off the table. Luke Williams, who may or may not be a real person. Dodgers stack versus Javier Assad and whatever's coming out of that Chicago bullpen. Again, I'll drop it one more time. Roth will be on in about 10 minutes or so, maybe less. They'll give you an update as far as what's going on weather-wise, but it is currently orange-yellow in Chicago. So orange is a little bit alarming. I want to stay tuned and see what Roth has to say. I don't know if Kenneth is in the boots in the ground, but he's saying it's raining in Chicago right now. But yeah, maybe it's supposed to be raining and that's fine. But
wait, Dean, I want to interrupt.
Yeah, go ahead.
Derek just brought up in the chat. We want to know your dream fast food order if everything was under one place.
Oh yeah, we were talking about this. I had a friend of mine who was saying like he had to make multiple orders for his kids, and like that's how it came up. And I was like, oh, what if you could sort of hypothetically? I haven't had much lately, but I'm trying to think what would be the optimal routes. Does Hattie B's count as fast food? No problem. I'd have to think about it.
It's got to have like a drive-through. How about that?
Drive-through is drive-through makes it official, I suppose. But I didn't really have an official answer, but I was curious to hear what other people's answers were. Somebody in chat was trying to tell me Olive Garden. Olive Garden, of course, is not fast food. It's not the greatest food, but it's definitely not fast food. Italian, it's hard to mess up. Like, how do you mess up pasta, right? It's fine, but you could do better.
Do you have a top fast food restaurant?
I don't think so.
Are we talking like McDonald's type?
McDonald's type.
Not fast casual. No Panera Bread.
So it's obviously Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
I put Chick-fil-A in my order, in my dream order. Yeah, definitely. McDonald's fries, Chick-fil-A sandwich, and a bacon.
I prefer the waffle fries at Chick-fil-A to the McDonald's fries.
I'll say this: Arby's fries, the crazy. Give me some crazy fries.
I like Checkers fries.
You want to know what I've been doing? So I have. Do you guys? Anyone have Costco membership? I'm a big Costco guy.
I did at one point. Yeah. I'm still probably paying it. I don't realize it.
So, and you guys have air fryers?
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah. So I do the curly fries from Arby's and in the air fryer, which are great. But they have these Costco has these. They're called Just Bear chicken nuggets. They're literally just like Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. My fiance was just telling me about that.
Yep.
We got to get them next time. Are they that?
If anybody would be open to like Costco reviews, like I'll do them. I'll start doing some.
One review a show. Let's do it.
I'm not a big soda guy, but Baja Blast. Is it Baja Blast or Baja Blast? Right, that Taco Bell is spectacular. But
nothing beats the orange high C at McDonald's.
Well, they took it away for a while, and the people were rioting. I remember Twitter lost its mind, and they brought it back. And apparently, McDonald's has like a different something to do with the bubbles. Like supposedly their fountains are different than everywhere else. There's a reason why, and I remember seeing why, but I can't remember what it is specifically. But somebody in chat, I'm sure, will reference it. These are important things we have to talk about before we hand it off to the chat. Shamrock Shake getting a little bit of a shout out there in the chat. The cheesy gordita crunch.
I hate anything mint, so I'm out on the Shamrock Shake.
I'm actually really bummed I missed the Shamrock Shakes if they're gone again. I completely forgot about that.
I saw that. What's that dude's name that does like drinks like out of a boot Badlands Booker, Eric Badlands Booker, he drank like a gallon of Shamrock Shakes in like 30 seconds. It was outrageous. I mean, if there was money in that, this dude would be a millionaire. He probably is because he gets a lot of likes and stuff on
Costco lasagna.
on YouTube.
People are chiming in. I know that very well.
We got.
Is there ricotta in it?
Here for
I'm out.
You
you
could call me Chris Kirkland.
Oh, are you an heir to the Costco fortune? Kirkland brand is their thing, is it not? Kirkland, yeah. Close enough. Why not? I went for it. Do you guys have Costco up there in Canada, TJ? You got the Costco or you got BJ's?
Yes, we have Costco. Lots of Costco's everywhere. Big Costco guy. Costco's fantastic.
Do they have air fried poutine?
They have regular poutine.
Do they do it?
That's
poutine at like where we sell the hot dogs. Is it still hot dogs there, or is it?
Yeah, it's hot dogs, it's pizza, but there's also poutine there, and it's quite literally like
the rotisserie chickens are.
Where I am on like the more western side of Canada.
They're not overrated. They're great.
They're like $3.
Costco's like,
they're $4.99.
Who cares? Dean, let the man like his chicken.
It's fine, but like go to Publix and get a better chicken. But okay, fair enough.
No, Costco beats all of them
in price.
I'll go to Publix and I'll get a sub. I'll get a sub at Publix.
There you go. Now we're talking. Publix subs pretty solid. Well, do you have a stand as far as Publix subs, as far as Costco? Anything to chime in here? You have an entire podcast based around food. I figure you have a thought here to some degree.
Listen, I've always got thoughts on food. I don't throw my food critic takes around, but I will say I do think Publix subs are good. They use boar's head meats, which is which definitely helps the cause. Yeah. So
pressed or not pressed? Pressed or not pressed?
I don't usually get mine pressed. I usually eat it straight, unless it's like maybe. So there's a local grocery store where I live, and it's in the Carolinas. It's called Lowe's, Lowes. It's Lowe's grocery store. Believe it or not, like you can get some really good paninis there. I do get those hot, obviously. I mean, they've got Reubens, Italians. I mean, they're really good. So if anyone's got a Lowe's, if you live in the Carolinas between North Carolina and South Carolina, there's a really, just check their sandwich selection out. It's really good.
Two questions.
Sure.
First, and then we're going to get to one question. Then we go to TJ, who Dean interrupted and didn't let him tell us about the poutine. But first question: people talk about IKEA meatballs? Is that real? Is that like
Swedish meatballs?
Are they good?
I've heard it. I haven't had them, but I've heard the same thing.
Like, has anyone actually bought them? Like,
I haven't.
Like on record?
I heard IKEA has good food.
I feel like it's an expectation thing, right? You don't really expect, great meatballs from the place you're getting a desk from. So, like, your expectations are low, I imagine, but I can't speak from experience. I'm aware that they sell a whole bunch of them. I guess Sweden.
All right, TJ, cut him off and tell us about the poutine.
All right, so where I am, Dean, am I good? All right, so where I am in Canada, here further to the west side, there's not that many places you can get good poutines because like the good cheese curds come from the East Coast. They're all in Quebec, right? And so where I am, there's not many places you can get good ones. You'll find a poutine at a restaurant and it's just like fries, gravy, and shredded cheese on top. But Costco's we have the hot dogs, we have the pizza, the regular stuff, but like the Costco poutine, probably the best poutine you can find like in my entire province.
Wow. It's a bold proclamation.
That doesn't shock me. I will go to bat for Kirkland's signature anytime, any place.
Hey Roth, we've had 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks of baseball, whatever it's been so far, and I feel like we haven't had any really close calls. You've been saved by some cancellations, some wonky cancellations, but you let us know about them. You gave us the heads up about that. You said this looks kind of squirrely. Just be aware. Is this our first big challenge of the year? I saw Chicago swap to orange yellow. I'm concerned. How concerned should I be?
All year long, this is like I'm taking calculus exams and just passing them with flying colors, and you think I'm just getting freebies over here. No, it has been pretty quiet, honestly. And this game is a little dicey, but I think they're just going to late start and they're going to play. I think if they wanted to postpone it, they probably would have already done so. I don't feel great about that because this isn't just a little line of showers. This is a tornado warned like storms that are moving in. And there's a chance that they don't fully clear. But if you put me on something, what do I think is going to happen? I think they're probably going to play ball tonight.
All right. Yeah. An hour and a half until first pitch. I'm sure you're going to be updating that throughout the show. You'll be updating it on your Twitter as well, I imagine. Kirkwood, we got to set aside and make some lineups. Spidey's got to wake up for TJ as far as the Spidey bombs. I don't know where we're at as far as likes, but anything else, the boys, before we step aside and make way for crunch time?
No, I feel like we went through another show where we talked very little about DFS, and it was enjoyable.
So we did. We knocked it out. We talked what we needed to talk, and whatever the chat wanted us to talk about, we're happy to talk about it. But yeah, now they're going to go around the horn. They're going to simplify it, get favorite plays position by position. They're going to dig into the whole Tatis situation, I'm sure, and DK as well. Roth, you have the FanDuel sponsor, Crunch Time, and it's starting now. Take it away.
Let's do it. Good stuff as always, gentlemen. Bye-bye. Look at it's producer Steve on it with the gifts. Welcome to it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed crunch time. It is sponsored by FanDuel. That's the reason it's free. So if you like it free, you want it to stay free, all we ask is that you hit that little thumbs up button that you're seeing there on your YouTube. And it is the show where we are joined by two of the sharpest minds in the biz, one of which we got Mr. TJ Zwarych.
How's it going, Roth? Feeling good, knowing I'm going to be able to finish my sentences now. No, I'm just giving Dean a hard time. Ready to dive into this slate. It's kind of an ugly one, but doesn't mean we can't make some money.
Yeah, I think also I got your last name right. So whether or not I get the weather call right today, I did get the last name, so I feel like I get a bonus point for that. Excited to get your takes here. You know, we want your cash plays, we want your GPP plays, we want it all. And also, we've got Chief on the show as well. What up, Chief? How are you, man?
I am good, man. Another day, another slate. I'm not in the pick'em sites tonight, man. This slate is awful, I think, for any type of pick'em stuff. Like, it's just so random. Like, if you're on the sports books, it's probably mostly okay. But I think for DFS though, it's pretty interesting. So definitely ready to try to break this thing down on the backside of what Dean and Kirkwood have already provided.
Okay, well, let's start with this. You know, we've got the Cubs game. Of course, it's the best hitting weather. It's winds blowing out in Wrigley. At the start of the game, if it were to start on time, winds would be blowing out to left. In the middle of the game, it would be center. By the end of the game, winds would be blowing out to right. But because I think it's a likely late start, it's more like winds blowing out to center or right for the majority of the game. Either way, the winds are blowing out. My question, I guess, guys, is can we adequately pivot if, let's say, we get on this game and then they say, never mind? Can you kick to one of the later games?
Yes, absolutely. It's just a matter of, like, this game, if they actually postpone it before it starts, great, that's fine. We'll be able to make some adjustments. It's just it's 2 hours before the other ones. It starts at 7:40 here. So if they're like delay, postpone, then yeah, we're going to be kind of screwed.
I do think on our sponsor site, FanDuel, they've started to do a thing on occasion where they push back the start time in that case to allow people to get off of that particular build and make those later pivots. No promises on that, but just something to note, especially if you're playing on FanDuel. Okay, well, I gave you my weather take. I think it's going to play. I don't have some definite strong take. They could cancel it because there's some nasty storms, and they could cancel it because there's a chance that even after these strong storms clear, that another storm pops up. Now, forecast models keep those other storms just south of the ballpark, but it would not be a huge leap to have one of those storms impact the game. So there is some risk. If you are okay with that, then I say go for it. If you don't want any risk, then don't freaking play it, because I cannot promise you that they're not going to postpone this game. There's a legitimate chance.
How
TJ?
much lightning will there be?
A lot. I mean, these are severe thunderstorms. So yeah, there's a fair amount of lightning in these storms that are moving through.
It's not ideal. You don't want to be swinging a bat around when there's lightning.
Well, yeah, they're going to wait till the storms clear in theory. Anyways, I'm planting my flag on late start and play. We mentioned got a long time until this game goes, so I will be posting updates. Things could change. It's certainly possible, but I'm going to be posting updates throughout lock and then on my Twitter even after lock. With that out of the way, let's talk about the rest of the slate. Let's talk about what people want to know. I guess they want to know weather, but let's talk about what I want to talk about, which is not weather. I want to talk about pitchers. And TJ, you can start us off.
I'd rather listen to you talk about weather, I think,
great, huh?
because no, there are really not too many pitchers we want to be playing today. So on FanDuel specifically, we got somebody like Shenga is projected to have the most fantasy points of any pitcher today. But before I dive too deep in, we got over 400 people watching. Let's hit this darn like button. I'll give out the first Spidey bomb at 100 likes, second one at 150 here. So let's hit that like button. I want to give away at least 2 of them. But a pitcher today on FanDuel, like Senga's the highest projected pitcher. He's also 11K, whereas Roansy Contreras is almost $4,000 cheaper and projected for only 1 point less. Basically play, if there's a person you're really confident in today, it truly does not matter what their salary is, because you're probably going to be able to get to anybody you want to get to on this slate, especially on DraftKings. But on FanDuel, like, I guess I'd probably rank it Senga 1, Contreras 2, maybe Manaea 3, and a shot on Luke Weaver as a contrarian tournament option for 4. But it's ugly today.
Okay. Just quick notes, tech things behind the scene. I think my mic is not the good mic, not the fancy mic, but hopefully you guys can still hear me pretty clear. And then there's some sort of popping happening. I think that might be Chief. Maybe just try to keep it muted while not talking, just to try to minimize that. That'd be great. But in the meantime,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I don't know. But in the meantime, I want you to unmute. Do not mute, because I need your takes. I need your thoughts on a little picture. You heard TJ go. What are you thinking?
I think, Senga's probably going to garner a lot of the ownership, just because, San Francisco hasn't been great this year in terms of strikeouts. I mean, they've been dreadful. And, Senga's got a, 30% K rate on the season. Walking guys at a pretty big clip, but there's some strikeouts to be had here. You got Conforto if he's in the lineup at 30, Yaz at 28. So, like, there's just some guys. I do think, for me, hear me out here. I think Strom is interesting. Like, I don't feel like people are maybe really getting to Strom today, but I think on a slate like this where, look, the Rockies, we just saw Rich Hill. We just saw Velasquez. We just saw Johan Oviedo. Like, we just saw them get mowed down by the Pittsburgh pitching staff, and they didn't even put their good guys out there. Like, Keller didn't even pitch against them. So I think Matt Strom at home is probably a pretty good bet today to pick up some fantasy points. So I actually like him a ton. For tournaments, Strom at 9K on FanDuel. He's actually one of my favorites. A little bit of a discount, and then you can kind of put some other bats in there, which is not a lot of games, but if you want to try to attack some of the name brand bats, if you will, I think Strom gives you a way to get that done. So I really like him a ton for tournaments. I think Manaea is okay. I'm probably going to steer clear of Manaea. He's just a guy that, gosh, man. Just a mixed bag of tricks. The one day you think he's going to get strikeouts, he goes 6 innings, no strikeouts, 5 runs, and then he faces the best team in baseball and pitches a complete game shutout. I'm just going to avoid Manaea. That's personal. That's just so that's what I'm doing. But Senga and Strom are definitely my top 2 today on FanDuel. I'll have pretty massive exposure to those 2.
Okay, that's fair. Any other names you want to throw out there? I suppose not. You kind of ran through it.
No, small slate. I'm just going to stick with my guys, and whatever happens, happens.
That's
yeah.
fair.
So for what it's worth, on DraftKings, where I'm playing today, I'm on a very similar page as Chief is today. Strom is going to be my second highest owned pitcher. I only got 4 guys in my pool. It's Senga, Strom, Contreras, and then I'm mixing in Luke Weaver as a potential tournament option, just because he's a guy that, like, might not be that bad. He's only pitched out of the bullpen this year. except for in his rehab starts in the minors. He's gotten up to almost 80 pitches, so he could potentially get there today. And nobody's going to be playing him. So I'm going to take a shot there, but it's mostly Senga, Strom, and Contreras for me over on DraftKings. We have gotten over 100 likes, only 40 more for number 2, Spidey Bomb number 2. So make sure we get that like button popping. But Steve, I'm going to bring you in because you don't know who it is, but you know who Spidey Bomb number 1 is. Tell them who it is, Steve.
I think it's going to be Big Pete Alonso.
You almost let his actual nickname fly there. I heard you. But yeah, Pete Alonso is Spidey Bomb number 1. Looking at Spidey had a good feeling. He thinks he's going to hit a home run. But in addition to that, if you look over at scores and odds today, he's got a plus 400 odd to hit a homer. And that compared to some guys who are also very likely to hit a home run today, like Schwarber, like Tatis. These guys are in the low 200 range or the mid 200 range. And I think Alonso is just as likely, if not more likely, to hit one than they are. So Alonso is Spidey Bomb number 1.
Very good. That is an excellent pick. We did have someone already asking for home run calls. We will mix those in throughout the show, but also once we go position by position, we will have just a segment just for home runs. So just be a little patient. In the meantime, we want to talk about some of the stacks, because in baseball, you can't just pick the one dude. You got to get the whole team that goes off, and that is what we need help with. And TJ, I will let you lead us off talking some stackages.
Let's do it. And if you don't want to be patient, if you don't want to wait for the home run calls, just keep smashing that like button and we'll keep interrupting ourselves to give out more. But in the meantime, for stacks, like this is where your job gets tough, Roth, because it's the Dodgers number 1. It's probably the Cubs number 2. And if it's not the Cubs number 2, it's either San Diego or Philly. That's kind of the 4 teams today that are the top 4 stacks that we're going to be looking at. So if you want to basically just say, I want to remain pretty close to optimal while finding 1 or 2 places to get different, I don't want to have to worry about that weather today. You just run a San Diego and Philly team together and you're still not sacrificing much upside there. But for me, it goes Dodgers 1, Padres 2, Cubs 3, and then Phillies 4. And then teams like the Mets, Arizona, and Pittsburgh, I'm trying to mix in a little bit. And then Cincinnati and San Fran, because it's still such a small slate, I am making some teams with those stacks, but those are the 2 teams I'm stacking the least.
Okay, very good. Just looking at radar, and just I don't see anything that would change my current thoughts in that game, by the way, which is still, I think they're going to late start, and then I think they're going to play. And I think it's going to be close, and I think I'm going to be biting my nails all night. But I think they're going to late start, and I think they're going to play. That is still kind of my thoughts here. Chief, let's get your take here on what we're doing with stacks.
So for me on a small slate like this, where I feel like everything's kind of in this crappy conundrum, let's call it that, the crappy conundrum.
It's good.
I'm probably not going to stack that much in tournaments. And you're saying, well, what? Like, you're not going to stack that much? I'll do many. So, like, I might have a 3-2-2 or something like that. This is kind of, for me, this is one of those slates where I get a little bit more selective, and I actually probably hand build a few more lineups than usual. Like, let's say if I'm running, for an example, 150, I might hand build 40 lineups, right? Because I want to kind of get a certain flow. And then I'll just let lineup HQ do the rest because I don't think it's going to be duplicated. But so for me, it's not really a one-off scenario, but like for Cincinnati, I do something like Friedel, Fraley, Vossler, Indy up top. So like a 1, 2, 4, 7, right? And I know that's 4 people, but I'm saying like I kind of take a collection of those guys because you got kind of get the lefties, and then you kind of take one of their better hitters. So I'm not necessarily going to play all 4. But I'll maybe do a 1-3, 1-2-4, and then I might do a 2-4-7, and then a 7-1-4, like just kind of mix and match the guys that I like the most off that team. And obviously somebody else is going to hit a home run, and I won't have them. I understand that, but that's kind of my approach. Because what I like to do is, look, man, this game should be fine. The Dodgers and Cubs should tee off on each other. But at the end of the day, we're going to see massive ownership on a 5-game slate. If I can just get away from full stacks of Dodgers Cubs, I'm just going to be automatically different. So with those teams, I'm for sure not going more than 3, right? Just to make sure, okay, I'm very different here on this slate. And so out of that, I might do something like, Outman, Muncy, Peralta. Like just in one bill, leave off the two most popular hitters or close to it, which will probably be something like Muncy and Freeman, which Outman's going to be pretty popular because he's leading off. But I'm saying I kind of get wonky with the stats a little bit because as we know, it just takes the right bat to get a hold of the ball in the wind, and anybody can hit one out of the park. So it doesn't have to be Freddie. It could be Austin Barnes today. Now, look, he's very low power guy, so he's least likely, but that doesn't mean he won't hit one today. So that's kind of my thought process. And that doesn't mean I'm going to avoid them in every build. I'm just saying in some of them, like if I'm hand building, I want to avoid the big names and just take, or maybe I say, okay, you know what? I'll just do Muncy, Thompson, Peralta, something like that. And so I've avoided kind of the top of the lineup, gotten a little bit closer to the middle. And I want to kind of do that for every team. If I was going to stack one team deep, like all the way, I actually think it would probably be the Mets against Manaea, just because I feel like they're the team that's probably the best team, but not in the best spot. But they could absolutely get a hold of Manaea if the stars align, even in San Francisco. So that's kind of my thoughts. I'm not going to do that, but I'm saying if you ask me, hey, what would kind of be your off-the-wall thing, I just full stack the Mets because I feel like they've got some of the best hitters on the slate. Because people are going to play the Padres because they're facing Nelson. Tatis is back. The lineup looks potent. They're going to stack them. I feel like the Mets are going to be kind of the forgotten good team that could absolutely pile on some runs.
Okay, well, guys, we are kind of inching up on lock here a little bit quick. So let's go position by position. I still want to get to some QQs as well. So why don't you lead me off, Chief? We'll talk a little catcher talk, and then we'll speed through it and get around the horn.
Yeah, so
just want to check quick. Chief, are you mostly playing on FanDuel?
Mostly, yeah.
Then if you don't mind, while we're going position by position, do you mind making sure to outline the FanDuel plays, and then I'll focus mostly on DK, so I'm making sure I'm giving my best analysis?
Sure. Well, so let's do that. I'll mostly handle FanDuel. That's perfectly fine. So on FanDuel, where people don't want to play catcher anyway, Rod, I'm just kind of going to mix them in with the stack. So like if I get to some Philly, I'll play JT. He's 2,900 on FanDuel. That's really cheap for JT Realmuto, even though maybe you can say, well, season hasn't been the best so far. I like him a ton. You've got Tucker Barnhart at the bottom at 2,100, switch hitter in the Cubs game. I mean, he's very cheap, so I like him a ton. And then you've got, of course, Thomas Nido. I talked about facing Manaea. I like him as well. But they're all cheap today. You're not going to see nearly as much catcher on FanDuel as you will on DK.
Sure. On DK, TJ, we need a catcher. Who are you playing?
Yeah, it's a super gross position today. If you have this salary and you want to overspend for JT Realmuto today just because he is the best at his position, there's no problem for in doing that whatsoever. If you land in the mid tier for Tyler Stevenson, it's fine. You're mostly just going to be doing things in a stack. My favorite kind of punt, like I like Austin Barnes in a stack. I like Tucker Barnhart in a stack. But my favorite kind of little bit off the board play today is going to be Gabriel Moreno. I think you can roll with him as a one-off or as part of an Arizona stack or as part of a mini stack. This is a guy who is a very highly touted prospect. The Jays gave him up to get Dalton Varsho, who's a great player in his own right. I really think that he's been hitting the ball better lately. I really think Moreno's starting to come on a little bit, and I think on a small slate where catcher's gross, we can go to him.
Okay, very good. Take me to first base on DK.
So Freddie Freeman is the top option. That's and he's in that weather game, which is worrisome. You do have a guy like Trey Mancini or Eric Hosmer in that same game who are cheaper, but they're not going to be as big of a priority as Freddie Freeman. Like, he is the best play at this position. You want to pivot off of it, though. A way to do it, whether it's in a stack or not, it's the Spidey bomb. It's Pete Alonso. We're 20 likes away from our next one. Hit that like button. But Pete Alonso is a phenomenal play today, both in DFS and to bet on a home run. Another one of these Arizona guys that I like is going to be Christian Walker, either as a one-off or as part of a mini stack. And those are really the only 3 guys I'm prioritizing today. Outside of them, it's only players in a stack.
Okay, very good. Chief, what are you doing at first on FanDuel?
Yeah, definitely like Pete Alonso. He's a really good play. I think I think a lot more people are going to be on the Dodgers than Cubs. Look, Eric Hosmer's not sexy. He's been around the league a long time. Probably another guy that's least likely to hit a home run. But if you're stacking the Cubs, I do like sprinkling in some Hosmer. I mean, we've got him projected now, and maybe this is an update. It's like 1%. Like, that's very low for a guy that's in the same weather game as Freddie Freeman. I think that's a good spot to attack there for sure. And then in this Reds game, like I talked about, I like the lefties against Contreras. So Vossler's a guy that I like as well.
Very good. Take me to second base, please.
Absolutely. So at second base, I think we've got some interesting options. Like, for instance, Nico Horner's leading off. He's been pretty good this season. Like him a ton. So at 3,700, I definitely think he is in the mix. You got Vargas in this game as well at 2,600. He's in the mix. So Bryson Stott has been really good this season. He's 2,900. He's almost one-off potential right now because, he seems he's going to get on base. He's got Trey Turner, Schwarber, Castellanos. He's got some good hitters behind him that can bring him home. So he just always got fantasy point potential. So I like him a ton. And then in the Mets game, I know it's lefty, but if you're stacking the Mets like me, I don't hate McNeil at 2,700. These are just guys that are cheap that you can mix in other spots.
Very good. TJ, second, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, to me, and from a optimal cash game standpoint, you're going to either Stotts or Horner. And then if you're worried about the weather, Stotts is kind of the tiebreaker that goes to. And then, like, this position is really just going to be exclusive for stacks for me because it's pretty gross today. The only player that would be willing to one-off here would be Bryson Stotts. Everybody else is only going to be a stacking option. I'm fine with getting to the like a McNeil, a Cronenworth, a Vargas, an India, a Destrada, but it's only going to be when I'm stacking those teams.
Very good. Take me to third base, please.
Third base today, much stronger than second base. Got a lot of guys that we really like. So Max Muncy leads the charge, obviously, in that weather game, and we're a little bit worried about it. My next favorite play, it's Patrick Wisdom in the same game. Outside of those two, the one I'd probably want to get to the most would be Manny Machado for the Padres. Has Fernando Tatis ahead of him now. And then if I'm looking to get different in a tournament, I'm probably looking to a guy like Josh Rojas leading off for Arizona, or even Spencer Steer batting third for Cincy today.
Very good. Chief, your thoughts at third, if you don't mind.
Listen, yeah, play the Dodgers guys, play the Cubs guys, but look, Manny Machado's 3K on FanDuel. Like, just, man, please get to Manny Machado today. And I mean, the ownership's there, like, it's at 12%, but I don't think that's nearly enough on this slate. Like, that's, to me, he's the third base play on this slate for me today at 3K.
Any other plays there?
Well, the Dodgers and Cubs guys, of course. But yeah, Manny is the guy for me at 3K.
Very good. All right, that's easy enough. Then let's go to shortstop.
Yep, love Lindor. He's big time on my radar. I don't hate Tatis. Everybody's going to be playing Tatis all over the place. I'll let TJ talk about this stupid price he's got on DK. On FanDuel, he's 4,500, where you actually have to think about it. Dansby Swanson, I think, is good. But, once again, in that same game, in the same weather game, Trey Turner, he's garnering a lot of ownership, but, I mean, the man just gets fantasy points, Roth. Like, he doesn't have to do anything but get on base. If he gets on base, steals and runs are coming. So I really like him. Jerkson Profar leading off. I don't hate him if you want a super cheap guy. And then you've got Barrero. I don't really trust Rosie Contreras today. Cincy's been awful. But if you're stacking Cincy, I do like him a little bit today. He's 2,600 at the bottom of the order. Not a lefty, but if you want to sprinkle him in a stack, I don't hate it.
Very good. TJ, your thoughts at short?
This is the most important part of the slate. It impacts your entire lineup on DraftKings today. Now, Lindor, Bogarts, Trey Turner, and Dansby Swanson, all phenomenal tournament plays. All you can play all of them. Your entire lineup today depends on whether or not you're playing Fernando Tatis. He's minimum price $2K on DraftKings.
Why on earth would we not?
Because he's going to be by far the highest owned batter on the slate.
That's a pretty good reason. All right.
Yeah. So like he's one of the very highest projected plays on the slate, and he's also 2K flat. So if you are playing a different stack, if you're doing something a little bit different than your pitcher, just put Tatis in your lineup. If your lineup is uber chalk and you want to play somebody else at shortstop just for the sake of getting different, that's totally okay too, because Turner or Swanson or Bogarts, they could hit 2 home runs today.
What's the ownership for Tatis on DK, by the way? Just right now? I'm sure it's like 50, 60. It's got to be somewhere close.
It's got to be something like that. So I have the bats one up on mine right now, but I'm just going to switch it to
because he's like around
48%. 48%.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's I mean,
it's just in baseball, should you almost never do that? Like in a tournament, and just never play a dude at 50% ownership because it's baseball and they can.
If you want to get 0% Tatis today in tournaments, that's fine. If you want to get 100% Tatis today in tournaments, I'm okay with that too.
It's. I hope people understand the dynamic here. It's like you can't match the feel and win. So you either got to fade or you got to go all to like really hammer the field. I know I cut you off, TJ, but that's basically like what you're trying to do. Like if you match the field, you're not gaining anything.
Okay. By the way, Dean putting in the chat, if you guess the DK percent own on Tatis, you win 2 weeks of free RotoGrinders premium. And I think all you have to do is like reply to a tweet there. It's like pretty simple stuff. So make sure you're doing that and get a chance to get some free RG premium. Let's keep rolling. Was there anything else at short? Because I feel like, TJ, you really hammered the Tatis talk, but anything else you want to discuss?
No, you are already getting wildly different playing on DraftKings, playing like Turner or Bogarts or Lindor. Like Turner is probably going to be close to 20-30% owned today. So maybe that's not the different one. Like I'd rather play Tatis at 2K at 50% than Turner at 30% at 6K. But Lindor, Bogarts, and Swanson are really the only other 3 you got to consider playing. I think I'm going to end up with like maybe, you know what? No, X on Nick Ahmed right now, and I'm just going to go with those other guys as a potential option.
Okay, very good. Oz Rambo in the chat says you're giving up too many projected points fading him. And I think in a cash game, that is absolutely correct, right? Because all we care about is...
Yes, you have to play him in cash.
Yes.
In tournaments, who cares? Projections are relevant.
Exactly. Bingo. That's what I've learned, is that the goal is not to get the guys that are most likely to score the most points. The goal is to get the team that could score the most points, but is not being played. And that's...
Yeah, like MLB is an NBA. MLB is not NBA. Yeah. So if you think about it, like in NBA, if the 3K guy is starting and he's got a projection that's like 10x, okay, just there's give and take there. In MLB, anybody against any, like I talked about, Rich Hill goes into Coors and throws the best game of his life right now, and he shouldn't have. Like, it's baseball. It can happen, which is why I typically fade Coors. But story for another day. Back to our regularly scheduled programs.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with Tatis, too, is where this is a different story than most, is he's going to be legitimately 50% owned on DraftKings. And so while you would never want to lock a baseball player that's a pitcher, I think there is, from a game theory standpoint, a reasonable to kind of go, well, I want to go 0 or I want to go 100, because like, will Tatis score a bunch of points? Probably. And so if you have the option to just go, all right, well, I'm going to take them and let those other 30%, 40%, 50% of people just pay the rake, and I'm going to be competing with only half of them, that's fine too. Just know that like with an insane amount of ownership like this, you kind of have to decide, what do I want to do with him? It's the most important part of your lineup.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the outfield. We've only got like 5 minutes until lock, so let's run through that. TJ, you can start us out in the outfield.
So my second Spidey bomb is going to be here if we get 15 more people hitting the like button. So let's smash that like button. We got almost 500 people watching, and I can give you my Spidey bombs. So you have the Dodger players who are some of the best plays here, and you have the Cubs players who are some of the best plays here. We have Outman, Martinez, Thompson. We have Suzuki, Happ, and Bellinger. All of them are phenomenal. And then Kyle Schwarber and Juan Soto are kind of individually two of the very top plays on the slate as well. If you kind of remove that weather out of it, Soto and Schwarber stand on their own by a very, very large margin. We're going to have to sit and wait about that weather, though, because like those are going to be the players I'm getting to the most. Outside of Schwarber and Soto, all of my next like 8 highest owned outfielders are all going to be from that Cubs and Dodgers game. Outside of that, the players that I like, I don't mind Corbin Carroll. Mark Canha is batting second today. I like getting to him a little bit. Jake Fraley and TJ Friedel for Cincinnati. I think both of them are fine. But it's like Schwarber and Soto are your 2 individual guys here, and then just all the outfielders from that game. Sorry, Brandon Marsh is another player that I didn't mention that I'm getting to a fair amount of today.
Okay, very good. Chief, give me your thoughts here.
Yeah, I really like Terry Friedel today. He's one of my favorites, and that's actually a sneaky home run call by me here. Terry Friedel, sending one out of the park in Pittsburgh where nobody hits home runs. So yeah, I like him a ton. Another guy I like in the outfield, obviously, you know, no secret here, Schwarber. He should have a good day at the plate. The Dodgers and Cubs guys, both sides, I think are good. Juan Soto is another sneaky home run candidate today. He's got really good numbers here, so I like him a ton. And then Mark Canha, I like him as well. Like I said, I do really like the Mets today sneakily. I think they're good plays. And I don't want to overlook Corbin Carroll. Like Michael Wacha, look, you know, he's old. He's been around the league. Corbin Carroll, look, the K rate's up right now, but I think he's going to be a good little hitter. He's got a 326 ISO against righties this season. And he's going to see a good mix of sinker, curveball, fastball. And so, you know, with him, I like him a ton. He's got a good hard hit numbers. He's another sneaky home run candidate, I think, today, Mr. Corbin Carroll.
Okay, very good. TJ, how many likes are we doing Spidey bomb wise here? We're like a minute until lock, I think.
6 likes away.
Okay, you want to give it out? We're 6 likes away. We're a minute out. I don't want it to come post lock.
Sure, let's do it. Spidey bomb number 2 is going to be James Outman leading off today for the Dodgers. He's got wild odds on scores and odds again today, much higher than they should be. And so James Outman is the next guy I like. A lot of players in that same game, though, I really liked their home runs odds today. Freeman, Muncy, Happ, even Bellinger I like getting to today. So, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for reminding me that we're a minute away from lock because I was just kind of fiddling around, didn't realize my lineups aren't even in.
Yeah. Interesting conversation on the Tatis still ongoing in the YouTube chat. And by the way, don't forget, sign up for RotoGrinders, sign up for Draftkings. Hang on. Sorry. I've got like 92 freaking chats open. Give me 1 second. Sign up for Fanduel. Make sure you're checking out their sportsbook. I got to pull up that read. Sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook in a legal sports betting state. Take advantage of their awesome bonus offer. New customers bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets. Terms and conditions apply. Trying to host a show while you're staring at radar and 7 different chats is not very fun. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's a bit difficult. We have less than a minute until lock. Let's see if we can get a QQ in here or 2. FanDuel Cash, TJ. Chief, I guess, is the FanDuel guy, right?
Yep.
Swanson, JD, or Trey and Bryson Stott?
Swanson, JD, even with the weather.
Very good. Cash question here. And TJ, I'll give this to you. Real Muto Escobar or Muncy Moreno?
Muncy Moreno.
FanDuel Cash Util. So back to you, Chief. Muncy or Tatis, assuming the game plays, of course.
Yeah, Muncy.
Final call on the Dodgers-Cubs game. I had the same thought all day long, and I'm not going to change it now. I think they're going to late start, and I think they're going to get the game in, and it's closer than I would like, and there's risk, but that's what I think is going to happen. So that's what I'm sticking with.
Woosah.
Musa got the lock, hit the lock. Worth noting, until this game goes, and probably even after the expected first pitch start time, I will be updating on Twitter. Make sure you're checking me out at KevinRothWx on Twitter. And I won't be hosting, so I'll just be able to focus on weather, and that is what I will be diving into. You guys want to give me I guess, Chief, you want to give me a home run pick here?
Yo, I actually gave it out. So it's Friedel from the Reds. No, we're good, brother. We're good. Friedel from the Reds. He's my favorite tonight.
Very good. TJ, you already gave out 2 Spidey bombs. I feel like we've kind of covered all our bases here, right?
Yeah, and then just kind of peeking at scores and odds, I'll reiterate, I like Muncie's odds today. I like Freeman's odds today. Ian Happ is another play that I like at plus 430. I think that's a solid one. But Outman at plus 500, that really is like him and Outman at plus 500, and then what's his name? Pete Alonso at plus 400 are really going to be my 2 favorites. This is the first time of the year that like I got lineups in. But I was like still building. I didn't get the mixture that I wanted. And so like this is the first time in that like I kind of got the lineups I wanted, but I don't know if that's actually really going to be the case.
Okay. Well, you get some time to tinker, right? Or
yes, and I better, because I just realized that it accidentally has 46% JT Real Muto. Don't want that at all.
It's aggressive. Yeah, that's aggressive. All right. We're going to get out of here. As I mentioned, I'm going to be posting updates on Twitter throughout the night on that game. Let you know what I think as things change and as things evolve. Appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you hit us with one of those thumbs ups on your way out. So for TJ, for Chief, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love it. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.